Okay, guys. So, one of the things that Sarah and I have been hearing a lot, pretty like pretty general consensus across the board is that everyone feels like they're super duper busy, and they like literally just can't figure out how, to fit this into their schedule. So, Sarah, myself, and Carrie all have like super different lifestyles. Um, and we all are like working this business. So for myself, like I'm a full-time stay-at-home mom with 4 kids. Sarah's a full-time teacher, and Carrie's a full-time college student, and then also like works a couple part-time jobs and does it work. So we thought it'd be really good for you to hear from all of us, because we know that we have like all different types of people on our team that have different stuff going on. So just hearing how like each of us are able to fit this into our schedule, and maybe you can get some ideas of how this can be easier for you to put into your schedule. So I guess I'll start. So when I joined this business, I was not a mom. So if you're like brand new, and maybe you're working full time, or maybe you're a mom, or maybe you're in college, you're going to get like different things from all of us. But when I first joined, I was working full time as a hairdresser. So for me, I couldn't be on my phone during the day, which is something that's similar to what Sarah has going on now because she's a teacher full time. So she can't be on her phone during the day. So one of the ways that I was able to fit this into my schedule then is that I was really, really, what's the word I'm looking for? I was very intentional with my time. So, when I would wake up in the morning before I rolled out of bed, I would send out some messages and I would get up a post. And I would go like add a bunch of people on Instagram. So, the way that like Instagram works now is totally different from how it was before. We were literally posting like 6 times a day. Don't do that ever. Um, just only like be posting to your stories and then posting to like your profile every day or every other day is pretty good. But posting to your stories throughout the day. So I would work my business. Every time I went to the bathroom, I would send out some messages. Um, every time like I was in between clients, I would run in the back room. I'd be sending out messages, responding to messages, doing those kinds of things. And I was able to go Ruby in my first 2 calendar months, and I earned $1,000 bonus. So that was really, really cool. And I did that for a while, just being a full-time hairdresser. And I was just doing this on the side. And then I met my husband, and he has 3 kids. So I became like a bonus mom to 3 kids super, super fast. And then 2 weeks before Christmas, I got let go from my job. And that just goes to show like you may join this business because you need an extra couple $100. And then it turns into something that like you need, more than that, which is what happened with me. So it was, 2 weeks before Christmas, lost my job and was like, crap, what am I going to do? Well, that's when I decided to like go all in with this. Now, working this business as a full-time mom has been a huge transition over the last year. So, or year, oh, almost a year and a half, geez. But Jamie's kids are all older, so they were all in like preschool and regular school. So I was able to just like do this during the day. But last year in May, I had my son, and that's when I really had to learn how to incorporate this into like being a full-time stay-at-home mama. So like a newborn and now to a toddler who's literally into everything. And if any of you guys have kids, then like they are in everything. They're running around. Like you turn for a second and the next thing you know, they're like playing in the toilet, and it's literally awful. So how I fit this into my day now is I have a set of non-negotiables. So my stuff that I have to get done throughout the day: following, posting to my story, putting up a post if it's like a day to do that, sending out messages, checking in with my team. It's all pretty basic stuff, but it's the stuff that you want to be doing consistently every single day. And being consistent with this business is what is most important, because consistency over time is where you're going to see big results. So, what I do is when I wake up in the morning, before I even get out of bed, I check my phone. Usually there's messages in the chat, so I'll like try to respond to those. Usually I have text messages from a few people. I'll respond to those. And then get the kids ready, throw them on the bus. And then when I'm sitting and having my coffee with Nash while he's eating his breakfast, that's when I put up my first story. So it's really figuring out the times that I can be on my phone, but not neglecting him. So when he's eating, like he's feeding himself, he doesn't need me to do anything for him. I can throw up some stories, send out some messages, check in the chat, see what's going on. And then come like the morning time, I don't really do much. I don't do much for my personal business. So at that time, I'm in the chats, I'm interacting on Instagram, interacting on Facebook. I'll probably put up another round of stories. And then pretty much it's just hanging out with my son until it's his nap time. And then during his nap time is when I'm able to like sit down and get a chunk of work done. So that's when I'll send out messages, do unsend resends, and do almost like a power hour. So if you guys don't know what a power hour is, it's basically when you sit down for, you could even do like a power 30, but like 30 minutes to an hour, and you just run through your task list. So whatever's on your task list, you just run through a round of that. So for me, it's like sending out 10 messages, sending out 20 messages, 20 unsend resends, following 100 people, adding 10 people on Facebook, and interacting for 10 minutes or something like that. And all of that takes about a half an hour. So it's really figuring out a system that works for you and how you can fit it into your day. Once Nash gets up from his nap, it is like family time up until right about now. So from the time that he gets up from his nap around 2 o'clock, our oldest daughter is getting off the school bus. Then the little ones get off the school bus. We do, sports. Sometimes I have to bring them to their mom's house. Sports, dinner, baths, laundry, all of those things. So during that period of time, I'm not working my personal business. Again, you guys will see me popping in and out of the chats. If you like are signed up under me and you're texting me, I'll be responding in text messages, but I'm not working my personal business. And then at 8 o'clock, all the kids go to bed. And that's when I sit down on my computer, grab my phone, whatever I'm doing, and I'll work my personal business. And that's just what I found has worked for me. So for a long time, I really struggled with feeling like my business had to come first. And just recently, really like the last couple of months, I've gotten to a place where it's, God, my family, my business. So I almost feel better. Like I don't feel guilty when I'm working my business, and I don't feel guilty when I'm spending time with my family. And it's hard. If any of you guys have kids, it can be really hard to balance this and feel like you're neglecting your husband and your kids, or or you're neglecting your business. Like you feel like you're always neglecting one or the other. Like one of them isn't getting 100%. And you're never going to find a true balance. So it's just figuring out a system that works for you. And what works for me is not stressing out about trying to do income producing activities when it's time to be with my family. And doing those things when, like right now, everyone's sleeping. My husband goes to bed pretty early. He gets up really early for work. So, we spend our time together from the time he gets home until 8 o'clock, and all the kids go to bed. And then that's when it's like my time to work my personal business. And then again, like during nap times. And that's just a system that I found has worked really well for me. And I don't feel like any pieces of my life are missing out on my attention. I feel like I'm giving my attention to where it needs to be when I need to be giving it there. And really what it comes down to is just putting together a list of like your non-negotiables for the day. And I know Carrie and Sarah are going to, reiterate the same thing. We all have a list, and they all have different numbers on them. I know like Carrie's number for the amount of people she messages is less than the number that's on Sarah's. And mine's probably somewhere like in between the two of them. but it's really like what you can do. And then if you have more time, you just do that little bit extra, you know? But it's really, you know, no matter what, I have to send out 100 messages a day, at least, between new messages and unsend resends. Like there has to be 100 going out. I have to follow at least 500 people during the day. Like that's a non-negotiable. Doing 30 minutes of personal development every day. That's a non-negotiable. I have to do that. I have to have my mind right if my business is going to be right. So it's figuring out what those things are that you need to do that you're going to make a priority, and then, you know, getting them done throughout the day. And even if you have to write them down on a piece of paper every day and check them off as you go, or, you know, I have like a little template that I made in GoodNotes, and it just has like all my little things, and I've shared it with you guys in the chats, and literally just check them off as I go and I'm doing things. So that's what I found works really well for me, juggling this, you know, between kids and sports and husband and house and dogs and all those fun things. So I know Sarah's day and Carrie's days look a whole lot different. So whichever one you guys wants to go next, I'm going to mute myself, and when you guys can jump in.
I'll go. Hey guys. So like Asia said, I am a high school teacher. So I teach full time, and I've been doing that. I don't even know how long, like almost 2 years now. So when I started this business, I was working a full-time corporate job and going to school full-time for my master's degree. So I've had like two very different seasons of life being in this business. Both of them I was working full-time, but I had really different schedules. So I'm going to just kind of talk you guys through what I was doing when I was working in an office versus what I do differently now. And like Asia was saying, like what I do to work my business and what she does to work her business and how we fit it in isn't going to be the same as what you guys do. Even if you also are a teacher, your way of working this business and fitting it in is going to be really different because we're different people. Like we have different schedules. But it's really a lot of trial and error. So like you'll try different things and try to fit this in different ways until you find something that works really well for you. When I was working my previous job, I would break up my business throughout the day. So what I would do is every single day I had to be at work at 7. So I would leave my house at like 6:15 to get there. So every day when I got in my car to leave for work, I would sit in my driveway for 5 minutes and I would send 100, like I'd follow 100 people and I would message 10 people. It would take me between like 5 and 7 minutes to do that. And then I'd drive to work. When I got to work, I think I actually still have these alarms set up. I had daily alarms set up. One went off at 9 a.m., one went off at 11 a.m., and one went off at 1 p.m. because I got 3 breaks during the day. I could take like a break in the morning, my lunch break, and a break in the afternoon. And so what I did was these alarms were silent, like they didn't ring or vibrate, and I would just have my phone on my desk. So when I would see the alarm going off, like I would notice it. If I was in the middle of something and I couldn't go work my business at that time, I would just hit snooze, and it would snooze for 10 minutes, and then it would like light up the alarm 10 minutes later. And whenever like I had a second, that alarm was a reminder to me to go send out another 10 messages and go follow another 100 people. So I was doing that at 9, 11, and 1. So by the time I got done with work, I'd already sent out 40 messages and followed 400 people. And this really wasn't taking a ton of my time. Like on my break at work, typically I was scrolling Facebook or Instagram anyway. I was just taking that action and like tying it to income. And then during my lunch break, since I got a 30-minute lunch break, I would usually put up a post. This was like before stories were a thing, but I'd put up a post. And if I had some extra time, I'd go ahead and like respond to any of the people that had messaged me back. If I was having a really busy day at work, I wouldn't worry about responding to people till I got home. And then when my workday ended at 3, I would sit in my car in the parking lot before I drove away, and I would send out another 10 messages and another 100 follow requests. So by the time I got home from work, I had already more than halfway finished my task list. Like I'd put up my post, I'd message 50 people, I'd followed 500. And then I'd get home in the evening and I would just like be responding to messages, or if I had school that night, I'd go to school and just kind of finish my to-do list. And that worked so well for me during that season of my life. Now my job is so different that like I'm literally like lucky if I get to pee 2 times during the day. Like that's how little time that I have. So when I first started my teaching job, I really struggled to figure out how to do my task list. And like the first probably 2 months I was teaching, I just like gave up on it because I was like, I can't work my business. I can't message throughout the day anymore. Like I just can't do it. And it took me like 2 months of like hating my life and like realizing or like telling myself I couldn't do this before I realized like, okay, this is dumb. Like I can't do it the way I did before, but I can still figure it out. So now what I do when I'm at work, I'm like 100% present at work. If somebody texts me, like somebody on my team, I'll respond to that if I can. Some days I can't. But I don't like send messages. I don't respond to DMs. I don't do anything. Sometimes I'll go in and follow, like when I do have my 2 pee breaks, I'll go follow 100 people while I pee. But other than that, I don't do anything for my business when I'm at work, and that's okay. I physically like don't have the time or mental capacity. However, when I get home, that's really when I focus on my business. So I usually get home around like 3, and at 3, like I'll take 20 minutes to decompress, like eat a snack, and then I'll sit on my couch, check in with my team. Asia's laughing because I usually talk to her on the phone like every day when I'm driving home, and I pull into my driveway and I'm like, okay, I'm home. I'm going to go eat my snack now. I'm like a kindergartner. Like I make myself a snack every day. But anyway, I eat my snack and I relax and like spend, 20 minutes just decompressing from the day. And then I really focus on my business hard for the first 2 hours that I'm home. I check in with my team. I send my new messages. I put up a post. I follow some more people. I go super hard on unsend resends. Like I'll usually send like 200 unsend resends right when I get home from work. And then after that, like my to-do list is pretty much done. So from there, like my roommate usually gets home and we cook dinner, and then I spend the rest of my evening sitting on the couch watching Netflix and just responding to messages and just responding to my team. So the bulk of my to-do list is getting done in like 1 hour and a half to 2 hour chunk. That's what works for me right now. If you don't have that time, then figure out how you can break it up throughout the day. I mean, there is a way to do this. You just have to figure out what works for you and for your schedule. And if you treat this business like it's a priority for you, you're going to figure out how to fit it in. If you're struggling to fit this business in right now, it's because it's not a priority for you guys. I want you guys to think for a second about the stuff that you do every single day, like the things that are a priority. So like for me, I shower every morning. Like if I don't shower, my hair gets really greasy. Like it doesn't matter what time I go to bed or how tired I am. Like I'm going to give myself 20 minutes in the morning to take a shower, no matter what. So like you have to treat this business the same way. Like there's not a morning that I have to work that I will skip a shower. Same thing, like this is bad for the environment, but I drink bottled water. Like I'm going to make sure I have 2 bottles of water with me at work every single day. If I don't have bottled water in my fridge, I'm going to make sure I leave like in the morning and have enough time to go to the gas station and get my 2 bottles of Dasani water. That's like a non-negotiable for me. If you treat your business the same way, you're going to find the time to fit it in. The times that like I wasn't fitting this business in is because I was saying like, I can't do it. Nope, it's not going to work. Like I'm just too busy. I wasn't looking for the solution. Like I was just saying the problem, like, all right, too busy. I can't make this work. And I wasn't even trying. Now, like I look at it like, okay, tomorrow's going to be a really busy day. I have a meeting after work. Like, how am I going to fit this business in tomorrow? And then I have to adjust and shift my schedule a little bit. And for some of you guys, your schedule might not be the same day to day. That's okay. You just kind of have to figure out where to fit everything in. So like this Friday, I have an event after school. I'm going to be at work at my full-time job from 6:30 in the morning until probably like 9:30 at night. And I'm really not going to have a ton of time to work my business. But what I'm going to do is I know that that's happening on Friday, so I need to plan ahead for it. Thursday night, I'm going to do extra to work my business. Like I'm going to try to knock out as much as my Friday to-do list as I can, and then I'll catch up on Saturday for anything else that I don't do. So I'm not saying like, oh, Friday's going to be a wash, I'm not going to work. No, I'm going to get that work done at a different time. Something else that really helps me is having like my daily non-negotiables. So I know you hear us talk about like a task list. I have a task list that I do every single day. I shouldn't say it like that. I have a task list that I aim to do every single day. That doesn't mean I complete it every single day. I push to do it. But I also have my daily non-negotiables. So on a day like Friday, where I'm going to be at work for like, 14 straight hours, I have non-negotiables that I'm still going to complete for my business that day. So for me, my daily non-negotiables, no matter how busy I am, I'm going to make sure that I check in with my team. I'm going to make sure that I post to my story at least once. I'm going to make sure that I follow on Instagram, and I'm going to make sure that I follow up with anyone who gave me that date. So no matter what I have going on, like if I'm conscious and like breathing and alive, like I'm going to do those things. It doesn't matter how busy I am. So I recommend that like if you're somebody that you have like some days that are super busy where you feel like you can't do anything, pick 4 things that you're going to do that like on those days. That way you're not doing nothing, but you're still able to accomplish something. And like the things that are the most important to you might be different than the things that are most important to me. So like for me, messaging is not one of my daily non-negotiables, because I message days, like on most days I'm messaging like 200 to 300 people. So if I have a day where I'm not able to message, it's okay. But if you're somebody who messages like, I don't know, like 30 to 50 people a day, like I would have messaging beyond your non-negotiables, even if it's just messaging 20 people that day. Does that make sense? Like I kind of have two separate task lists. And then something else that I read the other day, or not read, listened on Audible. I'm listening to Rachel Hollis's book. It's called Girl Stop Apologizing. Something that she said in that book that was like such an aha moment for me was, she said, nothing is on your schedule that you didn't allow to be there. And when I like heard that, I was like, well, shit, like I need to stop bitching about how busy I am, because I'm allowing these things to be on my schedule. Like if I didn't want to like be at this event at school, like I would have said no to planning it, or like I would have said no to being involved in this. So when you're like getting frustrated and fed up about your schedule, you have to take some responsibility. Like I allowed these things to be on my schedule, and my business is also a priority. So I need to work my business around these things. I'm sorry, I'm going to say one more thing. Something that I've gotten really good at this school year that I was not good at last school year is saying no to things that like I know that I can say no to. So like if somebody asked me the other day if I would like work on this special project and committee. And I was like, no, that's awesome. Like, I'm so glad that you're doing that. And it sounds really great. I just can't right now. Like, I don't have the time. Don't feel guilty about saying no. Like, don't tell your boss you're never going to work again if you need to work. But if it's something that you can say no to, and it's something that's optional and it doesn't like fire you up, like, don't feel bad saying no. Even if it's like your friends asking you to go out and you're on the fence, like, you can say no. It's okay. But yeah, I think that's all that I have.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay, so for those of you who do not know me, my name is Carrie. I am a Ruby leader within this company. I've been in for about 8 months now, and I'm a full-time college student. So just for my knowledge, is Savannah still on here? She is in college. Who else is in college? Is anyone else on here in college? Okay, good. Okay, so I'll be speaking mostly to you two, but my schedule changes. Why are you laughing at me, AJ? You're distracting me. My schedule changes every single day. Our classes obviously differ. The times and days change. Like AJ said, I have kind of two part-time jobs. I dog sit a shit ton of fur babies, and I kid sit a shit ton of human babies. So a crap ton. So I'm just going to give you guys an example. My busiest day of the week is on a Wednesday. So Wednesday mornings, I wake up and I have a class from 9 to 11. Or no, I babysit a kid, a 2-year-old, from 9 to 11. And then I have class from 12 to 1:15. I babysit a different baby, a 6-month-old, from like 1:30 to 4. And then I go to class again until 6:30. So my whole morning, afternoon, and evening, basically until 6:30, is completely shot. I cannot do anything except for answer any of the chats or check in with my team. Anything like that I can do. But as far as my personal business, like I can't do much. So with that being said, I have made myself basically 4 non-negotiables that I make sure that I do every single day. Just like Sarah was saying, if I don't brush my teeth one day, I feel grimy. If I don't do one of these 4 things, I feel grimy. I'm going to be mad at myself. Like, make that a habit of yours. Make 4 to 5 things that you need to do every single day, that if you don't do one of them, if you don't get one done, you feel gross, you feel mad, like you feel disappointed in yourself because you just kind of gave up on your business that day. So my 4 things, this is going to change for everyone, but I message every single day. Sarah's number is super high. You don't have to send out that many messages. That's just what works for Sarah. So I send out 65 messages a day. That's what works for me. I get a lot of response from 65 messages. Figure out what works for you. I make sure that I post once on my feed, on my Instagram. I post once every single day. And then I add to my stories throughout the day. And then the 4th thing that I make sure I do is grow my network. Now, when I do these things, kind of differs because my days are so different. But I always, always, always grow my network and message in the mornings before I get out of bed and at night before I go to sleep. So literally laying in bed, I take 10 to 15 minutes to do both of those things each day. Posting. Here's a tip. If you do not know, you can save posts to Instagram. So pre-plan some posts. If you guys have 20 minutes on a Sunday night to plan 7 posts for the week, then do that. All you have to do is go into Instagram and you can just make a draft. So that's super easy. I try to do that every single week. Just make 5 to 7 posts that I can just go in. If I'm walking to class, I can just click on one of the drafts and then post it. Super simple. So that's one of the ways that I make sure that I post every single day. And then lastly, adding to my story, I just kind of do throughout the day whenever I think to. If you guys need to set an alarm to remind yourself to do that, then do that. But I just know that I need to do that 3 to 4 times throughout the day. If I catch myself scrolling, like on Instagram, that's what I'm going to add to my story. If I have time to sit there and look at what Becky posts, then I have time to just add to my story really quickly. That's basically what I do. Since my schedule is so crazy, like it changes every day, you guys just like what Sarah says, figure out what works for you. Like just do trial and error. That took me 6 months to figure out for myself. Just you got to do trial and error and figure out what works for you. But don't think just because your way is different from any of ours that it's wrong. Do whatever works for you. Do whatever gets you the results.
Yes. So one thing that I just want to add on to that is, a couple of things that like Sarah said and then like that Carrie said, like every day, no matter what, even if they're not like completing a full task list, there are certain things that they're doing no matter what. So one thing that I know just about our society and this generation is that, we are in like a microwave society where everyone wants instant gratification for things. And a lot of people have like an all or nothing attitude. It's like, I'm either like, for me, I know like this is very true for me. And I talk to other people that it's very true for them too. It's like, okay, like if I'm going to like be healthy, like if I, have a donut at 11 o'clock in the morning, like I just blew the rest of my day. So like, screw it. I'm just going to eat whatever I want for the rest of the day. Right. Like who else does that when they're like dieting, right? Like everybody. So sometimes people are like, oh, well, like whatever. I just am going to be so busy today. So like, I can't do my task list. So I'm just not going to do anything. And that's like the worst thing that you can do. So with this business, like every bit of income producing activity that you're putting in, which is, growing your network, sending out messages to people, posting to your story. Those are like things people are going to see your story posts, right? If you're posting about the products in the business, following up with people, those things, like if you're doing those every single day, those are income producing activities. So if you like just take off a whole day from that, you're setting yourself backwards. So this isn't like an all or nothing kind of thing. Like you do what you can. Like if you literally can only just send out 10 messages one day and post to your story once, that's better than sending out 0 messages and not posting to your story. Because you might message one person that day that is like the next ambassador in this company. Do you know what I mean? And like, you just like, we're going to throw the whole day away because like you couldn't do, your whole entire list. So don't have like that all or nothing mentality with it. Like if you can't do everything, do some of the things, because doing something is better than doing nothing. Sarah, do you want to add anything on? We did so good. We kept it to a half an hour.
Yeah, I want to add like a couple things really quick. So I know you guys heard me say that I message like 200 to 300 people a day. Number one, that's like a combination of unsent resends and new messages. So I'm not messaging 300 new people a day. Usually it's like 100, it's like 50 to 100 new and then 200 plus unsent resends. But you guys, when I started in this company, I was not messaging that many people. I started with like 40 people a day, 50 people a day. And over 2.5 years, I've slowly worked my way up. So if you guys heard me say those numbers and you're like, well, I'm not going to be able to do that, don't panic. Like I didn't start doing that. I just got up to like 200, I don't know, probably like 2 months ago. And the only reason is because I figured out one freaking episode of a 45-minute show is 200 messages. And that's how I time myself now when I'm sending messages. So start small, like especially if you've been in a place recently where you're like not doing anything to work your task list and like I just got distracted. If you're in a place where you've not been doing anything recently to like complete on your task list, you've not been working because you're so busy, don't try to start with like a massive task list and try to accomplish it all in one day, because you're going to set yourself up for failure. Set up your list so that it's like priorities, like your first priority is a post every day, your second priority is 20 messages, and go in that order. And then every day try to accomplish, or every week try to get a little further on that list than you did the week before. I mean, the goal is for you to be creating habits and like building up to like massive action. Like, we don't expect you to all of a sudden like do a million things at once. These are just goals that we're giving you, and you have to kind of figure out a way to work up to those goals and hit them. I thought I had one more thing. Oh, something that Carrie said that was really important that I want to highlight. She pre-plans her posts for the week. This is something that anyone can do. And like for me, my weekends are my most free time. So like I last night set up like 3 posts for this week, and this preview app, like this is what my Instagram's going to look like this week. Like I posted this picture today, and then these are going to be my next 3 pictures. Like I have them set and I typed up the post. So for 4 days this week, I'm good on posting. Some other like cool tricks that I use, if you have an iPhone, like I can just search over in my iPhone and pull up an album of over. So like when I don't know what to post, I'll just go through and pick a post that I saved from over, or not a post, a story, and post that to my story. Like if I don't have time to create a story, you can use the post and story thread. If you want to, you can like create an album that's like stories for the week and save a bunch of stories for the week. Go back in your archive. Like there's so many things that you can do to make it quick for you. There's so many things that you can do to like set yourself up for success if you just take a couple extra minutes on the front end to get prepared. So again, like if you've been struggling and feeling like I don't have time, or like I can't figure this out, just set yourself up for like success. So tonight before you go to bed, I challenge all of you, especially if you haven't posted recently, figure out what you're going to post tomorrow and get like 2 sets of slides you want to post to your story. And then at some point during the day tomorrow, between those 2 sets of slides, take a video of what you're doing. I don't care if it's just you driving in your car and you take a picture or a video of like the road in front of you and like put a Taylor Swift song attached to it. Like that's perfect. And then post your next set. It doesn't have to be difficult. Don't overthink it. Just keep it really simple and plan ahead. I'm really done now. That's really all I had. But does anyone have questions or like anything that you're specifically struggling with? Or like maybe you are a college student and like want to ask Carrie something. Anyone? No? Does everyone feel good and like you can tackle a task list now? Was this helpful? Okay. I can't tell if you guys are just nodding because you know that's what I want, or if you actually
All right, I want to stop recording.